Hello and welcome to the Wolfchase Toyota Insider of the Memphis Tiger Network. I'm Jeff Brightwell, joined by Richard Mulrooney. Coach, we'll talk about your match over the weekend here in a second, but we talked last week after you went to Temple for the midweek game. We've talked about that match, but since then, Players of the Week and the honors have been released, and coming off that overtime thriller at Temple, you get Luke Kelly as the Offensive Player of the Week, then Parker Lackland, Ford Hunt are on the honor roll. So nice to see some individual honors.
Absolutely. Yeah. Tough game at Temple, like we discussed. And obviously Luke getting rewarded for that game-winning goal. But it's more than that. I mean, he's been a presence in the middle for us offensively and defensively. So happy to see him be recognized. And then Parker obviously came up with that big save at the end of the second half, along with some others. And then Ford's been stellar on the back line as well. You know, he was a defensive midfielder last year for us and has moved to the back line this year and has filled in great. So all three of them. And to be honest with you, there's a lot of recognition from the team. They obviously have Memphis behind them on that back name, so it represents all of us, but individuals got recognized for a good win at Temple on Tuesday.
You've been able to play, play just 3 matches so far. 2 now have been against the first place team, a top 10 team nationally in SMU. Played them tough for a half the other day. We're outshot the offensive advantage in the first half too, but it was a scoreless draw. They score right when the second half starts, and you talked about how potent they are. Once they got that momentum, another goal came a couple minutes later. It just snowballed for the Mustangs.
Yeah. I mean, sort of the tale of two halves. You know, we knew we were going to when we went there. SMU top 10. Every year they are. They're just they've got good structure to them, good experience. They're feisty and they can play. So anytime you go there and you're off your game a little bit or a lot, home or away, they'll expose you. But to be honest with you, the first half, I mean, we went in and did what we wanted to. We were dangerous. They did outshoot us, but at the same time, I just rewatched the first half, and we had some opportunities as well, and was really pleased with that. Never want to settle for that, but unfortunately, this is a 90-minute game, and they came out with a little bit more aggression, a little bit more desire, and their first goal, like you said, in the first few minutes of the game, came off trying to play out of the back. We had an error. They get a throw in, and then boom, they get a goal. And then from that point on, we just lost our discipline. We lost our structure, started playing a little bit more individual. And then, when you start doing that against a team of SMU's caliber, they'll punish you. And the next thing I know, it's 4-0, 15, 20 minutes in the game. So disappointed with that, but a good learning lesson. Like I said, this season is about learning. We've got a lot of guys minutes on the field that hadn't been playing. And some made the most of it and others struggled with it, so it's good for us as coaches to see when adversity hits, how true character comes out. And in general, my team didn't handle it well, but you know what? We still have 7 games left, hoping to make the conference tournament. We can learn from it, but tough one to swallow. But I believe that first 45, it proved to us that we can play at this level, but you have to have the consistency to do it for 90 minutes. Or, when you do go a goal down, you don't start changing your tactics up. You don't start, stressing about it. You have to stick to the game plan, because I felt as though we were creating opportunities, but unfortunately we just lost our way. And as a staff, we learned that too. But in saying that, we'll regroup and head to another tough match at UCF.
Let's talk about how the schedule sets up, because we touched on it last week, and no one. It's not a consolation or defeatist attitude, but the fact is, you played top 10 team, league favorite twice. You played a match on the road. Those are your first 3 matches, so you do have 3 points. You've got SMU off the schedule now until the conference tournament. Doesn't mean by any stretch of the imagination, because you're playing a good league, that it's going to be a cakewalk the next 7 matches. But your first 3 matches, when you play top 10 twice and then a road match against a team that beat you 2 times last year, you faced pretty stout competition to start the league season. So now you just, I guess the message to the team is put that part behind you. We knew it was going to be a challenge the first couple of weeks. Now you got to move forward.
Yeah, that's it. Like I said, you learn from it, but at the same time, going to SMU, which is, as we just discussed, how difficult that is. Temple's a tough place. We just got to win there. So going back on the road, and I think our 2 road games have prepared us for this week. But I think it's more or less, we got to train right this week. I think we've got to come out and get back to what we do well, and that's possession of the ball. And obviously, I think defensively, we're, I think we can learn how to make the other teams a bit more uncomfortable, like they're making us feel. And, putting all that together and just, having a good training this week. Nobody's going to feel sorry for us. We're 1-2, but at the same time, I think we feel as though, record might be better than that, but it is what it is. And now we've got to try to find a way to get back to 500 at a difficult place like UCF. And the fact of the matter too is, I've watched all their games and they've been a little unfortunate. I think they're maybe 1-3. They're not a 1-3 team. They're better than that. And they're going to be scrapping and fighting and clawing to make sure they get their 3 points at home. And that's a place that we've struggled the last few years to get points there. We were close last year. I think we took them, or I should say in 2019, we took them to the 85th minute. They got a goal and beat us 1-0, but in saying that, still a loss. So there's some hills to climb with this week, but it all starts today when we hop back on the field. And just as I tell the guys, you got to learn from it, but you have to also, we're going to go out and work hard and correct our mistakes, and we'll just see where it takes us come Saturday.
Early on in the season now, that's a match, and you'll still have 6 matches left, so still a lot to be determined. But early on Saturday, that potentially is a match that could at least put you alone in the top 4 in the league. Right now, you're tied for that top 4, and if you're able to get 3 points out of that, could move up to second place in the league. So with just 10 matches, it's going to be interesting this year how much can swing on one weekend.
There's the parity in the league, the parity. I'm not sure who's in last. Obviously, I know who's in first at SMU, and they've deserved that from winning at at USF, obviously winning here and winning at 2 games against us. So rightfully so, they're up there, and we're all chasing them now. But in saying that, we're preparing that conference tournament for the top 6 make it. We want to get in there, because once you make that conference tournament, anything can happen. But you do have to take it week by week, and one win, you might a win this week, like you said, might put us in second. A loss might drop us to 6th. But from each week to week, that one win or the 3 points or the drop there with 3 points, it's dramatic movement up and down with those 10 games. And everybody's good to win everywhere. I think everybody's basically won on the road, and some teams haven't won at home, and we're included in on that. But we've only had that one home game. So, each week those 3 points are a necessity if you want to definitely try to secure that space in the top 4, or possibly host. SMU has the driver's keys to that, but that's not to say that other teams in the league can't go in and pop them. But our focus is UCF this Saturday on the road, and making sure that we have another good performance on the road and hopefully get 3 points out of it.
Finally, Coach, you mentioned practice and a good week of training this week. I was looking at the extended forecast, so it looks like you're going to get back to regular early March. Things are starting to, I wouldn't say warm, but they're going to be a little bit more mild. Other than today, you'll probably see rain here or there like you do every March, but hopefully there's no more surprise record snowstorms and other dealing with COVID, which kind of seems like, is as close to normal as you can get, because we've dealt with it for a year. At least it looks like the guys will be able to start getting back into a regular routine now.
And it's about that as well. There's no excuses. SMU got the better of us this past weekend, but taking into consideration, we were supposed to host against Temple that Saturday. Game got moved there on that Tuesday. And then the 3 or 4 days leading up to that, we were either indoor or it got canceled. And then a quick recovery going to a tough place like SMU with a couple days practice. So it's challenging. Everybody's going through it. Tulsa's had, if you look at their record and schedule, they've gotten moved around just as much as we have. And eventually all teams are going to get hit with it one way or another. I think the SMU game against Tulsa the week before got canceled. So they had been off a couple weeks. So that's the world we live in right now. But, like as I tell the guys, the opportunity to play is here, whether it's canceled or rescheduled. We have to be ready for the moment. And, like I said, we're happy to be playing, and the next opportunities at UCF. And if they have a snowstorm there, then I don't know what's going on in this world this beginning of the spring. But chances are maybe a little bit of rain. But if it's 60 or 70, which it probably is, then I'll take that with a smile on my face.
All right, sounds good, Coach. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Jeff.
That's head coach Richard Mulrooney. I'm Jeff Brightwell with the Wolfchase Toyota Insider on the Memphis Tiger Network.